and what the and what is the genetics of the of a person, and what the person is having, the environment and the cultural aspect,
Yes.
that the upbringing of the person.
Yeah.
So this is a he said, like, all these three segments uh, are studied very separately
Yes.
by individuals and expertise. The biology of it is by the doctors and biologists, the environment by the psychologists, and the cultural aspect by the historians, and so on and so forth. And there is no joining factor between these three. And but the fact is, if we give a explanation where there's just biology involved, is not possible. These are highly intertwined.
Yes.
Everything is highly intertwined.
I will tell you what the Yoga Shastra said. It will be very clear to you after this. Okay. They said there is Stula Sarira, which is the body, anatomical, all the way to biochemistry, molecular, okay, biology. And Sukshma Sarira, where our thoughts, emotions, intellectual activities, carnal activity, all those things, okay, emotions, everything, happiness, sadness, and all that is Sukshma Sarira, all of that within us. Then Bija Sarira, that's where the genetic material, and they have talked about samskaras or tendencies that you have acquired, or karma, that is sanchita karma that you have accumulated in the past. Everything is directly to us. And then when you come, you are, from the consciousness, there is a prakruti. Your nature comes from those combination of elements according to your previous lives, or what previous thinking or previous living and all that, right? Like some of the child prodigies come really able to play the piano at the age of 5 years, that kind of thing. So they explained all the way to the core. And then what is it that is connecting all these things? These are all considered as matter. What is the spark that comes into life? Okay, and that is where you say that is because it's because the previous life or samskaras and all those are explained. And they also explain what you cannot escape in this life, what you can create for the future life. So Sanchita karma leads to prarabdha karma, the results of what you did in the past. Okay, that you have to pay up. Okay, that's why sometimes whatever you want to do, it will not happen because of that. But then you accept that. But the other thing you can do is you can change the agama karma, that's coming karma, by doing the right things now. Okay, so you can have the will to choose it and also accept it where it is. So that's where the surrender comes. And then the self-inquiry comes to know what is your Stula Sarira, what is your Sukshma Sarira, what are the limitations of those, if you get stuck in them, how you can, but then your Prakriti dictates you to go in certain way. So there are doshas, there are bioenergies in the body. If you understand and eat according to your doshas, think according to doshas, do everything according to doshas, you are much better. For example, you have Vata predominant personality. And that means you think fast, you do things, everything. You want to balance that by carrying the kapha and other energies, then pitta, kapha, pitta. So you want to know what the foods are made up of. The heavy foods have the pitta and kapha, and then very light foods are good for vata, so things like that. Just by understanding that, you can change a lot. Like for example, I am 66-year-old, right? I had health issues, they are all gone. I don't have to take any medication. And my energy is boundless. And I have forever fulfillment in the realization of all this. And I have also boundless energy. See, that is very, very everlasting, ever renewing energy, forever fulfillment and joyful. All these are possible if you understand. Then you say, okay, I don't want to think too much and worry about this, because thinking only one part, you are not the original one. So all these are explained much more detailed than the modern medicine did to me. I did become a doctor. I was preparing the bodies and all that, right? But also I'm leaving the mind to the psychiatrist in the beginning. Then I found they could not do anything because they have a faulty understanding of the whole thing. They were thinking only the thinking is the person. That's not so, because thinking happens to us. We are not happening to thinking. So we make thinking as our main thing. We identify with that, we enter the name and everything that's created, and then we go there. That's where mind goes out of that. You cannot confront and control mind. You can only understand it and let it be there, but you are over that as a consciousness. And then slowly the thinking stops by itself, in the sense it doesn't become restless or it doesn't become dull. It becomes something. So it's easy to maintain. Otherwise, people are really having so many multi stimuli coming from them, and they are and the thinking all the more. This is what I treat: overthinking, really information overload, and people are really don't have any joy in their life. They don't even. I'm sharing something; it's a very joyful experience for me. So that doesn't come with money and all those things, the status. Just by giving, you get the joy too. So all that he explained, he was wondering about it. That was done years ago. Leaps of understanding of the consciousness, and from consciousness, everything is coming. That was their thing. But now, modern medicine, what is it? Conscious comes from the brain. Is you conscious or unconscious? That is the misunderstanding. So they can't understand when they are only at the cognitive level. But the people who have insight into the whole thing, they can see thought separately. Like I am. Thought doesn't dominate me. I kind of close my eyes and completely completely stops. That is the peace. This is the test also, Saurabh. You close your eyes. If you have a peaceful mind, you are spiritual. And when you open your eyes, you want to do something for the world. Not asking what they can do for me. But you are materialistic. When you close your eyes, very unrest, But when you open, who is going to solve my problem? Who is going to help me? You see that? That's a very good test. Other good test is if you have uncontrolled, continuous thinking on anything, then you are not in the consciousness, you are not spiritually that way oriented. But if you have a slow thought, focused thought, in flow, then you can do things without really accumulating the brain fog. Everybody complains. Yeah.
My issue is I come in that slow thought process, and I go out of it and come to this and then go out of it.
That is the practice. That is the thing. You see, what happens is we acquire some tendencies and samskaras, vasanas, tendencies, samskaras, ingrained thoughts. So they come up every time. That's why practice is needed in the morning. So that's a very good hour. If you sleep night and working during the day, then you have to get up in the morning hour. The first hour after you get up, after the rest, is very important. You are neurologically susceptible. So you have to make yourself come to the present, breathe, or look at the nature, whatever that works for you, music or writing down, whatever it is. And then calm yourself, come to that and find out what is your purpose is, and then be in that instead of having so many thoughts coming to you while you are doing that. So that's why be attentive to whatever you do. Small thing, big thing, should not be a difference. Everything has to be like, for example, I'm talking to you, I'm giving my complete attention to that. To the none of it, what is going to come later, none of that will come to in this moment. It is practicable. It's something very easy to do if you remember that all the time. So initially what you do is, am I in the present? Just put that question and make it something you can remember. Write it down on the refrigerator or in front of the computer. Put something like am I in the present? And the moment you see it, you already will come there. Because you know you are in the present or not, right? Nobody need to tell her, or nobody can tell whether you are thinking something or koya, or you are here and now. only you will know. So I used to put it on my watch, on my phone. And so and I look at it, am I in the present? And automatically we can.
That's a question we can ask
Yeah.
all day long.
Yes. Yes. You know, come back to say what you do is you get up in the morning, do the practice like we do in the morning. I don't know, you've seen my yoga videos or not. I do it in the morning, 6 o'clock Central Time, our time. And for you, India, 4:30 p.m. You know? But that 1 hour, the whole focus is to be here and now. While you are doing asanas, while you are doing breathing exercise, while you are doing any focusing on all that, here and now. That runs to the whole. I may be talking about instructions to help people to do it, but otherwise we don't engage in a conversation all the hours. Okay, only at the end, just to satisfy them, maybe I'll open up and talk. Usually nobody will have questions because they are happy just to be in that state. And then we go from there. And that you want to take it to your work or study or whatever you're doing, you know, and then you will have a calm, quiet, focused mind and do the stuff. And then also make sure that's not accumulating mental clutter. That's why I recommend every 1 hour for 1 minute, come and center yourself, take deep breaths. I can use the Apple Watch breathe program. You know, I do it sometimes just to enjoy that. You know, I don't need to do that because I'm always in the present. Present moment awareness. Write that down, Saru. PMA. You can easily remember present moment awareness. Am I in the present or present moment awareness? Either of them you can use it. And then every 1 hour you are coming to the, or maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever that suits you. And then you can do that and then immediately go into the work completely refreshed again. And at the end of the day, you can also do this reflection on the daily activities and then get out of it. This is something very practical. We need it because I'm a doctor, right? I'm an informatician. So in the COVID time, what I did practice much, but then I did Zoom sessions. I did all the investigation of what is happening with the COVID, and then I spread it. That was my work. I even talked to people in India. Even now I talk to, and then even now I give the COVID info. So I have to observe a lot of information. While doing it, I'm aware. That's the difference. So I can do a lot of information without really affecting my mind. You convey the information, but it doesn't leave residue.
So this brings me one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Two more is like the mind, that the state where the calmness is there. I do feel it, and I do take it to the work. And when I come back from the work, sometimes I take the whatever the outcomes is, maybe my failure in the day or some comments, I take that as well. I am aware that I'm taking that with me again, but these days I'm doing Surya Namaskara, and a lot of digestion issues were there. I did a lot of studies, what works for my digestion issues and what works for me. I tried lots of medicines, but only the asanas helped me. So now, how do I go in the state and remain in the state while in the work, while I'm doing the work, and while at work, how do I not take up the clutter which comes out from the work, because work is also essential for me.
Yeah, you have to do it with focus, with attention, you know, and you want to do good results. All that is possible when you dart away the invading thoughts. So again, am I in the work now? Is my focus in the work now? Is my attention in the work now? Then you are aware that you are not attentive. Just be aware of that. That will fall away. See, don't get caught up in those thoughts that are coming up. I'm doing all that, but am I really attentive to the work I'm doing? And once it is done, you go to the next one, then you cannot bring this to the other one. Are you focused in that one? Remember what I do. If I see a patient, I used to practice quite a bit before all this COVID thing and all that. So if I go to a patient, that's what it is. I cannot bring all the material from the previous patient to him. Then I cannot listen to what he has to say. So this patient becomes the primary focus. And then we go from there. Okay. So it's a kind of it's a kind of focus that you shift from one work to other work. In each work you are being there. It's not the amount of work that's the problem. It is the invading thoughts taking our focus away from it. That means you are in the flow. If you focus on what you are doing, then you are in the flow, right? So that kind of thing always helps you not to clutter because you are leaving it. You are only facing what is in front of you and then do that. Most of the time, that is the way perfect work is done. And anything comes up empty on that, you can focus again on that and do it. But if you are focused completely, most of them are very good. See, if I pay attention to you, you are happy because I'm paying attention to you. But if I focus on you and also want to really address Rohini and Pragya, then you say, I feel like you are not listened to, right? So by me telling you this, I'm going to release this recording also. Other people also learn that. That's the purpose.
Yeah.
So many
one
people,
more, if you don't mind, one last question is, what to do about that invading thought? Should I attack it or should I just ignore it?
Don't attack. Who is that attacking? All you have to do is you be conscious of what you are doing. They fall away by themselves. You are inviting them by asking who is going to, no, just be conscious. That's the only thing you have to do. Be conscious, let them come. The heart is beating. Can you do something about it? It beats by itself. Mind is also like that. It will have its thoughts. And the other thing is, any buried thoughts you have will come up. So what you do is, this is a technique I tell in the morning. Watch the thoughts as clouds in the sky. They're coming, you're not holding them, you're not resisting them. Come and let go. And slowly they will stop coming like that. Because you're replacing them, the thoughts, with conscious attention to what you're doing. That's the only thing you can do in the present anyway. If you are thinking about the past, then you are not there. If you are thinking about the future, you are not there. So it's a kind of paying attention to one thing at a time. Even though it's very, very, very minute second, that's fine. But then that gap between thought and thought increases as you become conscious. So the mantra for you is, am I conscious or not? Just remember that. Am I, whatever I'm doing, am I conscious of that? If you're listening to a song, conscious of that. Reading a book, conscious of what is there saying. Or doing your work, you're conscious of. So that is the only thing. Most of the time we're unconscious. Right? We want to be conscious about it. Pragya? Are you, I can't hear you. Unmute yourself. Yeah, now I can. Yeah,
I just unmuted.
Yeah. So,
Namaste, Rohini ji. Hi, doctor.
So Saurav was asking some questions, so we are happy to engage with him. Do you have any questions?
Yes, actually, I just have a simple question because we contemplate about the stress issues when we are actually quite deep into it. So what are the initial steps that we should consider? What are the initial pointers that actually points towards okay, we are.
Are you aware that you say you know quite a lot?
I didn't get that.
Are you aware, Pragya, that you say you know quite a lot?
Yes.
Just be aware of that. That is the cure for you.
Recently, a public speaker also told me this. I was sorry. I was talking on the phone and she was like, do you know that you have used, around 12 times? And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that was
even
great.
in the conference I saw it, even here also I'm seeing it. You just be aware of that. There's nothing wrong or anything, but you are unaware of that. That's why it's coming so much. It has become a habit for you, and that became an ingredient thought in your mind as coming unconsciously.
Right.
So you have to deliberately be aware of what you are talking. That's all you want to do. Don't think it's bad. Don't judge. None of it. Just be aware. Then it won't come. Again, the same thing I told Shaurabh. Be here and now. Be present. Be conscious. All those things are only one. Live in the present. You let your thought go into the past and live there. That is not life. You let your thought go into the present, future and present. That's not present either. Only present is the life. So you are living or not living depends upon your conscious or not. You will be forced to present. Suppose you have a deadline, you have to deliver this. Then you will be forced to be focused and in the present finish the job. Suppose you are walking on a mountain precipice, unless you walk with attention, you are going to fall that way or this way, and then you will be finished. Then you will be like that. Acute crisis people are in the present. Otherwise, most of them, they are unconscious. So just be aware that you are doing that, quite a lot. And that will drop. With that, your practice of awareness comes in. Make sense? You will be forced to listen to that,
Absolutely, 100%. This actually makes sense. Yeah.
What you do is you wear a band, Pragya, okay? And every time you are aware of that, you're saying, you just pull it. That will remind you, oh, I am unconscious and doing it. Or you can tell somebody who is working with you, point that out to you for a few times. Don't get offended by bringing your ego. Just they are pointing out something that you would like to follow and cut it off. Because as a public speaker, what you want to do is, you want to be clear, you want to be understandable for the other opposite person, and not boring, not irritating them. So suppose I'm paying attention, you say, several times, that could irritate me if I allow it. Right?
Absolutely.
If I'm the one who is judging you about some project, something, I'll say, why does she say like that? That's kind of gets your opinion of them go down a little bit. So considering all that, what I suggest to you is, if you are having an important speech you have to make, write it down. If you want to do it by yourself, this thing will come. But when you're reading that, there is no scope for that.
True.
And you can get rid of it after a few days because you acquired it unconsciously. Now you be conscious of it, it will go down.
Right.
I mean, not only this will revolutionize your life because you become more productive and less of the brain fog at the end of the day. See, all these intellectual people, they can't take it from me because they think they are very clever, very achieved, a lot of things, right? So they will get away with those things till the time when those don't matter or they lose them or whatever, then they are very empty inside. Then they turn to all sorts of escapes, and also some people may end their life also because they are so empty inside. So this realizing this inner thing is very, very important. Does it make sense, Pragya?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and you will get it. I say it's not big deal because you are very young, and then you can get rid of it within 14 days if you are every day aware, alert. So, Saurabh, you can also put that band, whenever you think you are not in the present, pull it up. And then that will remind you, oh yeah, I'm not in the present. I mean, that is fashionable also these days, right? And people wear those.
I have this Fitbit watch. I do keep track on the.
Yeah, that's it. I'm talking about a rubber band also, you can put it.
Yeah,
Right.
I got that part. That's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something to remind you of the first few days. And afterward, you see the silliness of it and you took it away, and then you are in the present. Okay.
Got that. Got that.
Anything else, Pragya, that you wanted? The same thing that word that you tell about, I say yes word, you always say that, the same thing. Be aware of it, that you are making it, and then you follow it.
Right.
This is unconsciously absorbed from the peers or on the TV in your cultural life that has become very common, and people bring that up without them knowing because they absorbed unconsciously. So that's why you are very highly impressionable by people who wants to make you their slave, who wants to play guru, teacher, and all that. You don't need to anybody like that. By being vulnerable like that, you are giving chance for those kind of people. Real realized person, he doesn't want to be anybody's guru, or he doesn't want to have power over anybody. So this is what is happening. All these so-called gurus and other. I know that was shown to me by J. Krishnamurti. He was very much against this kind of people who don't let people think for themselves, discover for themselves, empower themselves from that. They want them to be dependent on these people, give them money and pranam and all those things. The real teachers are not like that. Ramana Maharshi said, I'm nobody's guru. Your guru is inside his side. But all these people, they have to let you see who you are by yourself, by empowering yourself. So that way, it's not like we become egotistical, we become transcending the ego, but at the same time, stationed in our own self-being, we become non-dependent on anybody. All that external person, so-called guru, can do is push you inward, but the guru inside then pull you inward. So if they are not showing you the path and you're saying also something that you get it by doing that, this and all, that's all nonsense. That's where all these educated people, they talk about all these yogas and everything. I'm telling you about self-empowerment. They don't want to do that. But they go to the temple and say, oh God, give me that, all of that, And then also they go to these so-called gurus, figures, and then they do the pranam to their feet. I don't know what happens to their ego then. They don't want to learn how to empower themselves, but they want to be slave to somebody. All these educated people, they're going to the temples for visa, they're going to temples for, passing the exam, whatever, right? I mean, we can do that when you're young, we don't know, but you have to come out of it. Say, I used to go to temple in the at the time of exam. I used to study very hard. I used to stand first in the high school lots of times, but still I used to go to make me do the exam well. I didn't ask for the result, make me do the exam well. That and then I used to get strength from that. I used to do that very well. But I was working very hard to learn everything, teaching people and all. But then you just don't do any effort and go and say, Doctor, that's not going to happen. But also, whatever you need to follow, the karma will happen. But doesn't mean that we should not work at that time. Anything else, Pragya, that I can answer your question?
No, this is, I think, like enough for the time being, because I have already asked many questions and I'm yet to actually work on them. Right.
Yeah, remember, we are just not only talking about yourself. All the questions that you have will be answered and then it will go on the recording. Other people will see it. See, a lot of people cannot see continuously sitting down like this, more than 10 minutes, 20 minutes, But I can go on any number of hours, I can go on like that. It doesn't tire me, it doesn't really take away my energy, maybe I feel hungry after I talk a lot, but then I kind of generate self-renewing energy, it's called. Have you ever considered that? What is self renewing energy. In the next 25 minutes, I'll talk about three things. Self-renewing energy, okay, or ever-renewing energy, and then forever fulfillment by turning inside, and how to have boundless joy in life, no matter what the circumstances are. All these three things are possible. Not by reading books, not by doing, the several relationship with other people, and not by really taking anything external agents, medications, or drugs, or alcohol, smoking, or any of those toxic things, but by calming ourselves down, turning inside, and finding out this bliss that's already there. So you have any ideas about that? Have you ever heard about this kind of thing, or is it extraordinary claims?
Not really. This one, the last one, in fact, having the endless, boundless happiness, and this actually sounds quite good.
Boundless energy. Boundless energy.
That was first point. No, renewable energy, and then.
Let me repeat it, because this is going to be a topic for our webinar coming up on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central, which is 7:30 p.m. for the Indians, and then 10 a.m. Central Eastern Time, okay, and 8 Pacific. So they know they will come to that webinar, and there is a registration link on our website. They can go and register for that, and there will be a minimal price for that. But basically, getting people to really expose to this, okay? And it will all be recorded, will be available for the same price probably, so we will put it on there. What it is we're going to talk about how do we lose our energy during the day? How can we identify that and eliminate those things, and so that the energy is not depleted. See, okay, energy is always one whole. You can tap into it and then you can deplete it, If you don't deplete it, then you will be able to maintain that, and you can also be in that energy. And then as you tap into that, it renews by itself, okay? Like, for example, I'm telling you, I love talking to people, sharing what I know, then my energy reduces. Okay, so it's not about getting something from Pragya, Saurabh, Chinak, or anybody, but it's about what is that I'm giving. Based on that, it renews. Okay. Second thing is we're going to talk about forever fulfillment. Is that fulfillment making a lot of money, or money as the goal? Is there a lot of fulfillment in pursuing our desires and then fulfilling them? Or is there fulfillment beyond that? Because people find they want to work for a car, they find it very pleasurable by working for the car. The moment they get the car, it's gone. So that's the problem with having fulfillment with things outside, no matter what they are. It could be things of the thought too, writing a book, getting a fame, getting scholarship, and all the cleverness. And fulfillment by turning inside is much more than this material acquisition or desires fulfillment. Okay, that's what it is. That is what most of the people don't have it in their elderly age, and that's why they die miserable. They are really unhappy to live. Body aches, mind is restless, and then a lot of the kids are left, and they don't have anything to really. They're emotionally dependent, and then they die like that. That's what Sadhguru also said too. A lot of his aunts died like that, even though they have everything materialistic, everything outwardly, but inwardly they are very poor or empty. That's why a lot of these artists like Robin Williams, the chef, New York chef that used to come on the CNN, a lot of people are killing themselves because of my own physician, my friends, and all those people, suicidal commitment, miserable burnout, and all, right? So that's why we'll have to talk about what is that fulfillment beyond this, And in Indian life, they call it dharmartha kama moksha. Artha is wealth, Kama is a desire. You can have both of them, but you won't get fulfillment out of it. The more you do it, the more you want, you'll end up finally nothing. But this forever fulfillment by really finding out who you are is the one. Okay. Then the third one is boundless joy. Once you realize you are not this body, all the suffering of the body want to put you down. Once you realize you are not the mind, all the mind's the suffering will not be there. So you will be stationed in the blissful sun. And these are the things we're going to explore. We're going to make the body well. We're going to make the senses under control. We're going to make the thoughts and mind under control. We're going to understand the intellectual limitation and go beyond to who you are. The five, we're going to talk about the 5 layers. We're going to talk about symbolic meaning of a chariot, how it fits into all this. And we're going to talk about Om has those 3 states of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Jagrata, Swapna, Shushupti, those 3 stages. All those are symbolism and represented so that they can understand these deeper concepts and stay with them. Does it sound good, Saurabh? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I just want to take them for introduction and then invite them to explore themselves. And then we can start these weekly sessions. And then
I have one more suggestion to that.
Yeah.
Is just like the chariot symbolic meaning, you can add one more. I don't know if it is relatable or not, but I see a Natarajan's in the background, like Natarajan's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can that the cosmic dance one. Like
Oh, yeah.
I read the symbolic meaning of that in
Sure,
one
sure.
of the-
Yeah. We have all these ancient, exploration into insight. They are not scholastic works. They are really exploration to insight. So we're going to explore that and use this symbolic meaning of cosmic. Actually, Shiva is itself consciousness. We made it a god and all that. That is a limited thing, but actually the whole thing, Brahman, everything is Shiva. Shivoham. Shiva is the ultimate consciousness. Haham is me. I am that. That is in me. Like a sun is in front of 1,000 bottles, it would reflect in each bottle. So that kind of, that light, that thing coming there, that is there, and that light won't be there if the absolute consciousness is not there. Like that, our consciousness is not there if we don't have the absolute consciousness. That is Shiva. And cosmic dance is, it has this dance of everything, Prakriti, like the what comes out of what we talked about earlier, Stola, Sukshma, all those, it comes from it means from the consciousness, this manifests the body and mind. That is dictated by the Prakriti. That is the nature. But the nature, everything also springs from Shiva. And the cosmic dance is reflected on it. Yeah, we're going to talk about lots of things, but anybody wants individual, that they want to consult me, then I'll open up for them so that I can see them during the day of the rest of the weeks and all. So that will be how we're going to provide services, but for the first time, I'm opening up this kind of master class. Once that is done, from the master class, people may want to choose, explore something, or they may want to consult on the personal level of life, burnout, stressed out, not able to concentrate, not able to sleep, not able to understand, all those things can be done individually. People want to be on their own journey, and then we let them be, and then take them wherever they want to go. As a physician, my luxury is understand both systems. So that's what I want to bring in, modern medicine and also ancient wisdom. All I'm saying is there's best in both of them. Let us mingle and enrich our lives. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, Chinnaka, you have anything you want to say?
లేదా వింటున్నా
So she wants to just listen. That's fine too. But I want you to give her a chance. Danny, you have anything? She's sitting next to me, but she's not a commenter. So that's fine too. I mean, usually we have to give everybody a chance to. Maybe we are saying something that they don't agree. That's also fine. Agree to disagree, and then take the further discussion and think on these things like even not immediate answers. Keep it in your mind, and then take it, sleep with it, and wake up with it for a few days. Then they become very, very clear to you. Okay. Now, one trick I will tell you, Pragya, that you can use to reinforce this. Write down what you learned today. Write down not only what you learned, what you are going to implement.
Okay.
Just that I learned this, I'm going to be in the present. I'm going to implement being in the present. That's it. Okay, something simple, something that works for you. Like I said, be aware of your saying, write that, and I'm going to do this every day. And then I'm going to write my speech and then talk. Even anybody, you can say, I'm going to say this to this man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then you just implement that. How you do it is, before you sleep, keep this in mind and sleep. Okay? After you get up, look at that. Everything comes to that right away. Okay? Don't come to like, I'm going to study, I'm going to learn it, I'm going to, no. You have to have this in your consciousness. So the way to do this, at the end of the day, this should be the last thing in your mind. When you get up in the morning, that should be the first thing you say in the morning. And then it will be a habit for you.
Once I was told by one person that maybe you can categorize your thoughts, like, it is of, I guess, 1 or 2 years back. So this person told me, like, categorize your thoughts when you are going to sleep. Like, one is present, one is of, like, last, one is, like, which is of old time, and one which is of future, that I have to go to the meeting, I have to do this, that, and blah, blah, blah. So I started doing that and did that for 5 days. And then I forgot, like, kind of, I don't know what exactly it is. So that was actually,
This is that what he said was all thought based. Even though it looks practical, your thoughts go on their own. So what I am saying is, you go beyond the thought to your awareness mode. Then thoughts will happen and you can deal with them present. So what I want to do is, don't live in the past with the thinking of the past, but learn the wisdom and bring it to your present life. You want to do something in the future, okay? Think about brainstorm. Have the steps to the thing, but don't work to the goal. Work the process. Be in the process conscious. Okay. Then what happens is, whatever you're doing is here. So you can plan something, but then write them down on the paper during the night and then put them aside. Forget about them for the night. And then when you come in the morning, again, first is present. Then you take the list. Then each step you do, completely present. So there is a place for the past wisdom, there is a place for future planning. But what's important is the process. If you are oriented towards the goal and forget about the process, you won't get anything. But you have thought about the goals and to the path for that, to the steps for that, then take each step. This is very important not to have brain fog. They're very important not to have not concentrating on the job. Okay, I used to tell this example to my children, very simple thing. You have a dirty table, okay? And I asked you to clean that. So your goal is to clean that. But if you don't do the steps to clean that, if you don't focus on the steps to clean that, your focus is on the goal, but not on the process. Other thing is, when you do the process, you do it without the I sense, I am doing this. Through me, it is being done. That's the highest karma siddhanta. And also, all the fruits, I will give it to the divine. You go and profits run the Western type capitalist societies. So when you are working, you have to be aware of that. India has become much worse than these people. They are much more egotistical, much more holding on to what they think that this is the right. And also they are oriented towards the external profits also. They used to be, oh, that's okay. But now they are really, much worse materialistic than Western people sometimes. And somehow these people realize and come. But I hope they will also revive. That's what I'm saying. Go and discover the riches are there in that culture, in that ancient wisdom. I'm not saying like a superior or anything, but I feel very painful when they are not using those, valuable lessons from the past that they have left for us. These are called shrutis. That means they didn't write them down. They heard the divine voice and then produced this thing. Vedas and Upanishads. So they are the divine voice being studied now. So you're listening to the God when you listen to this. It is not written by a man like that. They might have discussed, developed and all that, but originally they are called shrutis. Then they made them smritis, memories. Then we said the point behind it. Okay? So all you do is every day just do whatever. So the table cleaning I'm talking about, suppose you really enjoy the process of cleaning. That is life. Your focus is not on the goal. Your focus is not on the profit that you will get, but the actual doing itself is your blessing. That is the highest karma siddhanta. Then you go and do the work, but really freedom. We're going to talk about all this in the webinar. Okay, that will be a good thing to observe, and that will be a good thing where people can change their lives if they really understand and adopt it. But if they are firmly established as ego, firmly established the cognitive mind, and saying this is what the science says, this is a way of it, so that is violence. You should not force people like that. You should invite them to discover these things. You should invite them to explore these things. And then why I feel sad about India is India was one time when they followed these spiritual principles, the highest GDP, but they didn't care for the material things. They cared for the internal exploration, mukti, moksha. Those were the terms. Okay, so people after such an age, they turn to that and they realize. But certain people realize very early. But most of the grahastha people, they can take their birth, get educated, get a job, and support the family. And then when it's done, the kids are big enough. They used to give them by turning inside, attain the wisdom and share that. So this is a tradition that they used to do as their role in the family. And young people used to listen to the elders and do the proper. Now, the so-called freedom is really not having them that advantage of getting the wisdom from the elder. Right? You turn to Google for everything, but then you may see the words. What is the life experience there? That's the one you have to look at. If I'm living in torture, I'm living suffering, and then I tell you something, what meaning is this? If I'm drinking every day to sleep, what meaning is this? Right? So you have to have that life to be doing that first, and then you can share with people and invite them to investigate, find out the truth. Then if it is the truth, make it real. The categorizing thought, who is that categorizer? Question yourself. That is again another thought. You are never going to out of it. But if you are aware, then you categorize thought, you use the thought properly, and not the victim of thought. See, right now, you're just only in thought pattern. And that's why a lot of these things go on. The moment you are aware, I'm saying, you know all the time, that's gone. You cannot replace with another thought, I should not do this, and then that becomes another thought. You are still trapped in that. And also, why you are not able to execute those thoughts that you understood, you want to do it, because your unconscious habits come up and they drive away this. That's why you have to understand how thoughts happen, how they go, how they get deeply buried, and they come up without you knowing. They call them samskaras. Say everybody comes with so many samskaras from the previous life, they said, and also in this life you form this habit in a few years, right? You are not born with this habit. So once you understand, oh, I formed it, I can take it off. So these kind of things we're going to present to people. You have these problems of information overload, multitasking, and attention deficit because of the so much exposure, lack of sleep, and divorce rate has increased in IT people because of that. Doctors' suicides are happening, and then so much strife in the society, violence, so many wars, so many. The globe is going to blow up too. We have done such a marvelous job about all this. So you got to understand without blaming anybody. Just present these things and let them. If somebody wants one-on-one, like Saurabh wants to really take this one-on-one, they can consult me privately. But on the aim of the webinar is to stimulate interest into these things. So a lot of you may know it already, that's fine. But this for the people who are not knowing this thing, and also like you said, somebody told you to categorize thought, but those persons are talking about from the mind, from their thought. That's why they have no clue of what is this awareness. They're not living in that. They think, oh, my logical cognitive mind is so sharp, I can do this. But if you really go into them and find out, do you do this? Can you maintain it with thought? They will tell you the reality. Because they're trapped by the thought. They're bonded by the thought. You have to get the relief from that. But at the same time, like I think I'm the body, for example, and I will suffer a lot because whatever body is going through, I will think it's me. But if I have some distance, then I know it's not me, but then I can take the suffering. Also, I can work at it and I can use my energy to get out of that suffering. The same thing with the thoughts too. If you identify you are not that, have a little bit distance, then even you are saying, you know, it's not you. It's just a habit coming. I'm not going to judge you who you are based on that. You also should not say, oh yeah, I just have this habit, I'll get it out. But that habit can harm you if you don't correct it. Right? That's why, how do you correct the habit? That's the question. Everybody says by thinking that, this, they don't have any clue about awareness methods. I think we are nearing the top of the hour. We'll stop it here. Remember, our company is a PFL LLC, for which Pragya is a volunteer, doing a very good job of helping us with a lot of things. And then Saurabh, you find volunteers on this cause, they should come and help us only because they realize this importance and what is the good you can do to society. Because I'm in the process of wellness-oriented health systems rather than illness only. We'll treat them, but that should not be. You should not even get ill. There is a possibility. And then our website is www.bafl.net, and then they can address my Instagram questions at h_kolusu is my handle. So anything comes up, you can send it there. So we will be speaking on the Clubhouse and also Instagram, and probably we will open the Facebook and the Zoom too. We'll see how we can do that, all that on the webinar. Most likely on the Zoom, that we'll do, we'll announce that, and then they can ask the link, and after registration, and they will get the link and they can come and watch that. Okay? And there will be some freebies they will get, some infographic or something. But we're just starting. There will be much more to make people. My first hour every day is completely, we never thought of putting the money or anything, so people can come. But then this webinar is going to be some expense involved with that. So we want to make people encourage our activities too. So we put it for the first time a minimal charge. They'll be paying $7 for the 3 days. So each day only 1 hour. But we can extend a little bit based on the questions. But we will start at 9 a.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Indian time. Okay. And with that, we'll conclude. It's around 11 o'clock now. I like to start on time and end on time if possible. Thank you, Saurav, for joining. Thank you, Janaka and Pragya. And I will see you next week, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, on Monday, 9 a.m. Okay. So we will be on that, getting people registered and then sending them invitations, getting ready for those things. Okay. Thank you for joining me, and that's it. Okay.
సరే బాబు బాయ్
Thank you.